think it's going live. That works. I'm probably going to need help for a minute. If it stays stable, I'm just going to need your help to flip it. Okay, let's see. We got 3 people. Let's see, who do we have? Okay, we got Grant, we got Amber. Maybe we should give people a few seconds before I make a mess. Yep. Sit on a bucket for a while and see if we get anybody else in a few minutes. Okay, Amber said that is there another live feed going on right now? Gotta love my 6 o'clock fire alarm that goes off.
Every day.
Every day.
7
Yeah, I started to put up another kind of like reminder, and then I noticed that there was one already on there, so I backed out of it. Because it said something like mountain time, and I was like, I don't want people to think it's the wrong time or whatever. But so let's see. See if anybody else. We'll give them to like a few minutes, maybe 5 after. What do you guys think? 5-minute rule? Need to figure out how to make that font bigger on the chat. Oh, let's see. I think it's, what is it doing? Close. Okay, 4 more minutes and then we'll flip. Yeah, I was kind of trying to rock it a little bit the other day to see how easy it was gonna flip over, and it wasn't really. I think it might weigh a couple hundred pounds. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. Honestly, I thought that it was going to be a little bit lighter since it had consumed all of that stuff, but it's super heavy. So I've got my partner in crime, aka my husband here, who's gonna help me flip it over. You'd have to lean farther than that. It's like, here, there he is. There we go. Here's my other half. Going back to the other half of the room. So I tried to fluff it up a little bit the last couple days trying to dry it out a little bit. I'm thinking that the bottom part of it is going to be really mud, I have a feeling. I noticed when I started moving the tarp and whatnot around that it had been squishing through the lower screen holes. So I was like, uh-oh. So we might have I've been anticipating the bottom would be a mucky mess. So we will see here in a couple minutes. But yeah, I have a feeling.
You're sitting on your muck bucket.
I've got a bunch of buckets. I think, when I start out, I think I'm going to take my little soap bucket and dip out a few, maybe lighten it up a little bit. I figure each 5-gallon bucket probably weighs 20 or 30 pounds. That should help it a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. I'm hoping to find no more of those those big, huge grubs that I found. I'm hoping there's no more in there. I did find like a weird moth sitting on top the other day. It was pretty big, so I wasn't sure if that's what those things were going to turn into and it was another one or not. But there was no way I was going to take a chance of it being like a cicada, because I hate those things. Ugh. The heebie-jeebies just thinking about it. Yuck. All right. See, now I'm going to have the heebie-jeebies.
They're Hawaiian roosters. That's how they're Hawaiian roosters.
Mm-mm. It's a dinosaur or something. But yeah, that's what happens. I started the biome from my outside compost pile. So that's where I got my original microbes for all the compost bin was from the outside compost bin, and I apparently brought in more than just microbes. Must have brought in some eggs of some sort of weird larvae or something. But it is 5 after, and I'm calling the 5-minute rule. All right, so gonna over here. Okay, what's your best idea?
My best idea?
Your best.
Dump it on the floor.
Just flip it.
Just flip it.
Okay. Do you want to be on that side or this side?
I'll be on that side.
You want to be on this side? Okay. Keep your out of the way. All right. 1, 2, 3. Splash. Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem.
No, we don't have a problem. We just have
A solution.
we have bugs. All right. So I'm gonna start rolling it a little bit.
I'm gonna get out of the way.
I think that would be the best for you. And
How about if I just get out of the way completely?
you can do that.
All right.
I'm gonna move maybe I'm gonna move. Let's say I'm trying. Yeah, that's.
What's a big one or a little one?
Big what or little what?
Sifter.
Oh no, I'm trying to get the camera to behave itself. It is part of the laptop, making it not fabulous. I had thought about this slightly more better than I would have figured out how to do this with my GoPro. But it didn't, and here we are. Here's the dogs thinking I've damaged myself somehow. But yeah, let's see, you can't see this part. So too much. Okay. Like propping it with a cell phone. Sorry, guys. Meanwhile, all my worms are running wild. And find something to prop this up. There we go. See if I can nudge this thing forward. Okay. See if you can, right here, you can see it's squeezed out of the bottom. So it is definitely super wet down there. I'm going to grab these worms that came out first and rescue them for when I flip it the rest of the way. Sorry if you can't hear me really well. But I've got to get these out of the way before I upend it, or I'm going to squish all my little buddies here. You know how it is. Save the worms, save the world. Somewhere in this mess, Stubby is like, "What are you doing to me, woman?" The worm apocalypse. All right, let me see if I can get a hold of this and flip it, flip it. My husband may have ran away too fast. Oh yeah, he totally did. Yeah. So there's going to be no flipping it on end exactly. This is going to have to be done a little bit piecemeal. Everything looks really crumbly. I think I sucked in some stuff. But yeah, it does look really good, at least up this part. Super flaky. Brought my light up here. There we go. A little bit of light there. Still finding sprouts. Little bit of mulch that didn't get done. Yeah, I wasn't sure how many 5-gallon buckets this was going to be. I mean, it makes sense that it would be 5. Or 10. 5. It's Friday. My math brain has left the building. This is where it's going to be not fun. Let me see if I can get bring the camera. There we go. Now you guys can see what I'm doing. Is that better? It's starting to get a bit mucky. It still looks the same though. Still pretty crumbly. Hi, Lilia. All right, if you guys see any like monster worms or whatever, I don't know, yell or something. So yeah, still getting worms. Now it's getting sticky. I think that pretty well explains why it didn't come all out at once. Yeah. Still getting worms. Still smells normal. I kind of had the feeling that once I got down really deep that it would probably start smelling funky. Not seeing a lot of leftover stuff. Like I said, mulch mostly. Mulch and some sticks. Still, let me see. Still smells right. But it is stuck to the whole side just like glue. I don't have any drainage holes all the way at the bottom. This was a rain barrel originally. Sorry about that. It does, oh, look, where am I at? Mealworm. Negative. You don't belong. Okay. So yeah, there's the mesh. I don't think I've gotten down to the mesh yet. But the mesh, I put the 1.5 to 2-inch holes all the way around with mesh in them. Do I plan on sifting all of this? I have a plan. I don't know if you guys have seen that Walmart bag piece. Seen that design where they use a concrete mixer and then they put a mesh bucket. I think it's the only project that my husband's been super excited about. as far as the worms and stuff. So I think I will probably put these in different containers and let it dry. And then he can make his cement mixer sifter. And by the time all this stuff dries, then I can hopefully have a cool sifter thingy. Because I'm really sure this is several hundred pounds. Tons and tons of little baby worms. Yeah, if the webcam was not directly over my keyboard of my brand new, not cheap computer, I would totally bring this closer to the camera. What I don't see is a lot of cocoons. I mean, for whatever reason. Yeah, when my husband makes that thing, I think the cement mixer at Harbor Freight is like $150. I think the garbage can that's expanded steel, or whoever knows about that kind of thing, pipe up. But it's like the stuff you see at like at parks and stuff, that really heavy metal mesh. Yep, still got the pistachio seeds in here, or pistachio shells rather. Still smells pretty good. Still chock full of worms. The moisture is still staying stable at this depth. Chunk of plastic. Let's see. That is a staple for cords and stuff. Yeah, it'll take a week for all this to dry out. I'll probably do some light. Do I plan to do the barrel again? I've been kind of thinking about what I should do. I did put that out there for everybody. You know, what do you think I should do with all of this? You know, should I cut the bottom out and try and make it a flow through? Or should I cut the bottom out and make it an outside worm bin to where the worms can kind of come and go and whatever? Or should I cut it in half lengthways and do a wedge system? There was one of the guys I first started watching when I got into vermiculture has like a wedge system where he feeds side by side, and it's kind of like a continuous migration. And so that, except for the fact that I have holes all the way around. It's been so wet here, I haven't needed a rain barrel in about 3 years. It's so wet here now, everything's flooded. still smells normal. Still super flaky. I thought as I got deeper, I'd see more European night crawlers, but I'm not. Either that or they're very, very young. Yeah, just finding mulch and twigs, pistachio shells, oh my. We've got one vote for a flow through. Here we go. Big glunk. But even with it being like a solid wad, like you just saw it fall off of there, still falls very nicely. Let's see, I started this system, it'll be just short of a year, I think. It was August or July, I think. It was the first one I did, before I knew at all what I was doing. Before I bought any worms from Uncle Jim's. But this is where Uncle Jim's went. So, not quite a year. It started out layering it with paper, leaves, shredded cardboard, or torn up cardboard. It wasn't even shredded at that time. I didn't have a shredder. I also put, when I sifted out my outside compost bin, I got all of the leftovers. All the leftovers out of my outside bins. So everything that didn't finish. And that's what I used to start this. I layered the unfinished compost and bedding. Didn't even really feed it like scraps or anything. Probably until I found Lilia. I think of the people, in what order I found them, I think I found the one guy whose name, it was like from the bottom, or found him first. And then I think probably Lilia and Emily about the same time, and AV right all about the same time. And then I kind of started seeing more of the possibilities, or more possibilities as to what I could do with it. So right about the time that I realized that trying to stand on my head and get inside of a 55-gallon drum was a very bad idea, I started watching people making their flow-through systems and their Anarchy worm bin, her homemade flow-throughs. Oy, there's a Wormberg. What do you think, Wormberg? So yeah, just some twigs. Let's see how far I am. Probably still have a foot down to go still. I've filled the 20-gallon, the 10-gallon, and 2 5-gallon buckets so far. Seems some sticks and even a couple pieces of leaves. Still seeing worms, but not near as much. Yeah, I think she made hers out of like a garbage can, right? Yeah, I'm starting to see we're all the way down at the bottom here. I am starting to see a little bit of where it must have got all mushed together too much, because I am starting to see some leaves that are not 100% gone. Still smells okay though. I wonder if I can flip it now. Whoa. I don't think so. Still no. But I'm about at the end of my reach here. I'm gonna have to get my claw. Okay. Yeah, not so much with the worms all the way down here. No crawling around on the ground for him. Yeah, so some twigs still. I'm gonna get a new thing in the room. I am getting some water coming from somewhere. That can't be a good sign. Still do see worms though. Yeah, I think I'm getting to the part where it's a little funky smelling here. So it's probably good that this is going to be in a separate barrel. Nope, I smell something. Yeah, just a tiny little bit. Scheisse. Yeah, mucky. Very mucky. And that doesn't even smell rotten. It smells almost kind of moldy, almost not sour. I was kind of expecting an anaerobic, like almost vinegary smell at the bottom. But we haven't hit bottom yet. Come on. Yeah, that's what I was almost wondering if I should do a CFT out of this, because I would end up with the same sort of issue where the weight of it would cause it to maybe go anaerobic. Still, even with this really wet stuff down here, it doesn't smell. You can see that's pretty mucky, but it's still really, really crumbly. Oh, looks like a raisin box didn't 100%. The label was too plasticky. More raisin box. But yeah, I'm not really finding any worms down here. So yeah, finding that stuff is a little less digested down here than it was up higher. Seeing some leaves. Plastic something. Still smells okay. I'm pretty surprised. I honestly thought by the time I got down to this far that it would be like a swamp. Yep, it doesn't smell, but the leaves aren't very 100% composted. Sooner or later, I got to get to the point where I can dump it. No. Still finding a couple worms. Plastic. Packing tape strings. One of the downfalls of Amazon boxes. Let's see what I can do here. Oh yeah. You can't see it, but there is a puddle of water on the floor. Handle on this thing. Now my hands are too muddy and slippery. Nope. Too slippery now. Well, I did wiggle it around quite a bit though. We can see the bottom now. Still worms down here. So I'm not going to squeeze it, but this certainly is breaking the rule of, I think I could get more than a few drops of water out of that. Still crumbles apart, but it is wet. You can even see some of the coconut coir fibers. Flying worms. Yeah. Unprocessed coconut coir. Now it's kind of smelling a little bit swampy. Because there was no drainage completely. Oh yeah, well, it's a dirt basement. The floor of the basement is dirt, so it wouldn't be a problem really, other than the worms completely escaping. The house is almost 200 years old, so it's one of the nice things about down here. If I get dirt on the floor, it's kind of a home improvement. Still feel the sand a little bit in there that I put in. That's what I was using for grit. Originally it was just sand. And the lady who does the laundry is going to be mad about these jeans. Good thing I hear she can be bribed with wine. Can't believe I'm still finding worms down there. Especially red wrigglers and the blue worms. I would have thought that would have killed them if they got stuck that far down. Ugh. Puddle. Hold my beer, I got this. Yeah. Pretty sticky. Oh, everybody's favorite. Mango pit. And that's what matted leaves from all the way back in the beginning. Actually, Hold My Wine and Watch This was at least in the running for a channel name. I am being inspired to pull the tape off the Amazon boxes, though. That's okay, seriously, I've got to be able to dump it now, right? My hands are just too. Where there's a will, there's a way. Huh. What is that? Not sure. But yeah, the bottom here is super wet. Thinking I should, I don't know. Part of me wants to leave it on the tarp. But being that this is a dirt basement, the worms could run away from home anyway. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, right? Yeah, I always did like to play in the dirt. Well, let's see. What does that say? Out. Water. Oh, drip out. I see. Yeah. Probably gonna drag a fan down here and. Huh. Not that I'm gonna touch my computer with my hands in this shape, but you can see there. I can see that there's springtails swimming in this puddle over here that was made when I flipped everything. Oh. All right, well, I don't think that's Stubby. These two. Whoop. Okay. Sassy little guy here. All right, well, there we go. I will, as soon as I get this picked up, I'll show you what all I got. It was about 5 gallons more than I thought I was going to get. Okay. Okay. The laundry lady's going to be real mad because I don't have a towel. But I think she's used to me by now. All right. So this is the harvest. So that over there is 20. Let's see. The dark blue is 20 gallons. I don't know. I'm guessing that's maybe 15, 12, and then 5 gallons, 5 gallons, 5 gallons. Anybody doing the math there? But so thank you for hanging out with me and my worms, and I'm really gonna have to get used to having this camera on the bottom of the computer. Okay, well, I think I've earned myself a glass of wine and some chicken strips or something. So everybody, thank you for hanging out with me and my worms and all that craziness that just happened there. Keeping it under an hour here, 55 minutes and change. So I will keep you. Oh yeah, you can see what happened. I got all this mud on all of my keyboard there. Bad. So I'm going to sign out, and everybody have a good night. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything. and we get to making the sifter, I'll bring you guys along too. Everybody have a good night. Are you sure you want to end your stream? Yes.